Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep.
What company do you keep? Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.
Well, hello, everyone. Hope your day is going well. Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show today. We are so ready for the show today because we have some dynamic young ladies in the studio who is just going to have a conversation and talk about it with us today.
Yes, welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It. I am your favorite co-host, Sherelle Higgins. I am having a serious hot flash right now. I am sweating, and that's okay. I'm going to act like I'm not. Yeah, there we go. Welcome. I'm glad you all decided to tune in with us. You know, last week we had the young men on the show, and this week we decided to bring you the young ladies.
Yes.
And so we can make sure that we, do a full representation of the conversation.
And one of the things I want to say, of course, those of you who follow our show, I'm Dr. Sharon Cradle, and we are biological sisters, and I am the oldest of this dynamic duo. And she learns well because when we first started, she kept saying she was the favorite host.
And I still am. I was just trying to help her out.
How to say she's the favorite co-host. So
I try to humor her every now and again.
And so every week I like to open the show by, just talking a little bit about scripture because this is the day that the Lord has made, and that's just what I believe. And so we have to give thanks where thanks is due all the time. But what I want to talk about today is today at our church, our pastor, he came from 1 Samuel chapter 3, verses 1 through 11, and he hit on chapter 10 where God kept calling Samuel's name. He was like, Samuel, Samuel. And finally, Samuel turned around and he was actively listening. And so that is the point of our show today. We have young folks. This is their world, whether we want to believe it or not. And so there are young people here today that we need to actively listen to in terms of what they're dealing with the benefits of them living during this time and whether they see their future. And so that is why we are doing these segments with our young people, because these are the young people who will be taking care of us. And I'm really intrigued about, who's on this earth who's going to be taking care of me. And I want to have my fingerprint on how they're developing if I can. And so we hear so much negativity about our young folks, but I'm going to tell you something. There are some dynamic young folks in this world, and we just have to start showcasing them and making sure that they get the due recognition that they deserve. And then finally, I'm just going to take a little bit of liberty. Most of you all know that I give women's conferences, and my 4th annual Women Thou Art Great Women Sharpening Women Conference is going to be held on March 23rd, 2019. And the only thing I'm going to say, if you don't have it on your calendar for next year, you're just going to miss out, because I just booked 2 dynamic people, women who are going to come and talk to us about being unapologetically great. So put it on your calendar. It's going to be amazing. And so that's what we're here for, to lift up our young ladies and be models and encourage them as they matriculate through life.
Yes, and without further ado, we want you to know that we have 5 of them here this week, and we're going to have them introduce themselves. They're going to tell you who they are. They're going to tell you their names. They're going to tell you how old they are, just to give you a frame of reference. They're going to tell you what school they attend, and then we're going to just kick off our conversation like we normally do. So let's get started. Vanessa, we're going to have Vanessa go first.
I'm Vanessa. I'm 17 years old, and I go to St. John Paul the Great.
Can you speak up a little bit so we can hear you? Okay, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Kayla D. I am 18 years old, and I currently attend the University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Woo-hoo.
My name is Aaron. I go to Banneker, Benjamin Banneker, and I am 14 years old.
My name is Kristen. I'm 16 years old and I attend Crossland High School.
I'm Kayla K.H. And, I'm 16 and I attend Dr. Henry A. Wise High School.
Right. And so they're calling out these schools, and, we live in a pretty large area. So I heard a little bit of Prince George's County Public Schools, and what other counties are we talking? We already know about the University of Maryland, but what county and what state?
Prince William County and Virginia.
In Virginia.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Right now I'm in Princess in Maryland.
Oh, okay.
which is near Ocean City.
Yes, exactly.
I'm in Washington, D.C.
Okay, wonderful. So first of all, ladies, thank you all for taking on this responsibility to come and have a conversation with us and to just demonstrate for the world how phenomenal our teenage young ladies are. And so it is going to be fabulous. And so let's get started. One of the things that we want to do, and and of course people can call in because we have a caller already and we haven't even started. So caller, just hold on. We'll get to you in a second. We want to start out by just talking about, what's important to you all as young ladies in terms of where you see yourself. What direction are you going in life? What do you want to do? What do you see yourself, in a few years? Some of you are going to be in college. Some of you are going to take other avenues. So just kind of talk to us about where you see yourself in the next few years and your goals for life.
Oh, I'm not totally sure, but I'm trying to graduate, and I'm just trying to get a job soon so I can go overseas and so I can do internships there so I can study for film.
Oh, wonderful. So you want to go straight from high school to overseas to study film?
Yes,
That's
but
interesting.
I would like to come back for college as well.
Okay, wonderful.
Well, I am currently a biology major, and I plan on getting my bachelor's degree in the next year and a half, and then I plan on going to pharmacy school also at University of Maryland Eastern Shore.
Okay, wonderful.
I would like to be a child psychologist.
Yes.
Why? Because they got problems.
Why? Well, we can come back and ask the whys in a minute.
Okay. One of my biggest goals, short term, would be finishing high school with hopefully honors and going to college with some type of scholarship. And I want to be an orthodontist. So.
Exactly. And I'm going to come back and ask you a question about what's going to happen with you this summer that's going to be awesome as it relates to that. And Kayla?
When I finish high school, I want to go into nursing school, and from nursing school, I want to go into the medical field and become a cardiothoracic surgeon.
Wow.
I can't even say that.
I know, right? We've got a little tongue twisted
wait
on
hold,
that one.
Hold on, I'm gonna need some practice time.
Yes.
Hold on. A cardiothoracic?
Thoracic.
Thoracic?
Deals with your lungs and your heart.
Okay, all right.
now.
Again, I'm gonna need a little bit more practice.
So, it is so awesome to talk to young people who have goals.
Yes.
Now, and there's no way for you to have it all figured out. We know that. So talk to us about why the majors that you are interested in pursuing, and the careers you're interested in pursuing.
I've always had a passion for art, and I've always wanted to pursue that into something that'll be effective on society. So I thought that I could put, the news and all of that into filming, so that way I could get my voice out and my word out. And also, lots of women are not in the film industry, and it's a very male-dominated industry, so that's why I wanted to pursue that as well.
I loved your answer. Let me tell you what I really loved about your response. You talked about passion. And that is something that I don't think we talk about enough. We grow up and we're like, we got to get a job, but is it really, our jobs really connected to our passion? So kudos to you for recognizing very early that you have a passion for something and that you're going to pursue that as a career.
And if you pursue your passion for a purpose, people will pay you to play.
Yes, they will. Very well. Yes, next.
Well, I attended a school called the Academy of Health Sciences, which is in Prince George's County, and I got the opportunity to get that opportunity. I didn't know what I really wanted to do, but in my junior year of high school, my grandmother got cancer, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but just seeing the pharmacist help her and things like that, that triggered me to go towards a health profession. Then I started talking to people, and that's what made me want to be a pharmacist.
Okay.
That is wonderful. And what I would like to say about what you just said, isn't that why we're on this earth, to help each other?
Yes.
Yeah, we're to be of service to each other. And that is a noble profession to go into, to, care about other people and want to help make their lives a little easier when they're dealing with such illnesses such as cancer.
Kayla? I'm sorry, Aaron.
I want to be a child psychologist because, well, first, I've always wanted to work with kids, but it was just like a lot of things going on in my area, my environment, and just seeing how people cope with different things. I wanted to, figure out why do they do that? Why do they do the things that they do? So that's where the psychology part came in.
I'm gonna tell you, it's honorable for anybody who want to work with children. My hat is off to you, because these kids, these days and days to come, are a handful, and so you're gonna have your hands full trying to figure out why they do what they do. But in the meantime, can you help me figure out why my son does what he does?
But that is an ultimate question, and I'm so glad that you said that, because typically when we see children acting out, we want to label a child. And I just think it's inappropriate, because there is something always underneath behavior. There's an antecedent to behavior in terms of what propels people to act the way that they act. People just don't wake up and say, I'm going to do this. You can always go back and trace it. So to have a child psychologist as a profession and to want to do that, that is going to be needed. And bless you and thank you for even thinking about children, because children, what are the future? That's not a cliche. Our children are our future, and that's why I opened up with, I love the fact that we're going to have you all here, because you all are our future, right? And you're here to take care of us, so we need to kind of understand what you're thinking. Kristen?
Well, okay. Going into high school, I wasn't sure about anything that I wanted to do following high school. And going into my classes and things, I had learned that I really enjoyed biology and chemistry. So I did my research, and I found a couple professions that have to do with biology and chemistry and things of that nature. And then I also figured out that I like to do stuff hands-on. I can't sit in an office. So I had did my research, and I landed at orthodontist.
Yes.
I figured that was something that I want to do. And plus I have braces, so I go to the orthodontist. I go to the orthodontist, and I see I go in there, and I'll be like, this looks like something I would enjoy doing. So yeah.
And knowing what it is you don't like to do is so very important when you start out as a young person.
Yes.
Because in my house, we talk about, don't mark time. And sometimes we mark time because we just don't know. And the fact that you are aware, at least, that you want to do something working with your hands is good versus just sitting in the office. So, good. And Kayla?
So I've always wanted to do something science related. My family knows that's me. I'm science all the way. So for me to be a cardiothoracic surgeon, like she said, I'm very hands-on. And I feel like the best way to learn the body system is to be inside the body, to actually see the organs and see how they work. And what really pushed me was my grandfather's health and my little cousin's death. So that kind of pushed me towards the research and just being a surgeon in general.
Yes.
Kayla, just so you know, when I went to Virginia State University, the home of the mighty Trojans, I was a pre-med major. And so I get it. I connect with you on that level. I was not mature enough at the time to pursue it the way that I needed to, because my focus was not on my books. It was more on hanging out and kicking it. And so what I would say to you is, make sure when you go to college, pursue your dream. Don't get sidetracked. Let the main thing be the main thing.
That is right. And so that segment really just gave us a small introduction into who you are, your beauty, and your brains. That's a
Right.
powerful combination. And I'm looking at each of you, and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And so, talk to us about your extracurricular activities. Are you engaged in extracurricular activities? Are you engaged in community service activities? And if so, how do you manage academics and athletics or community service?
Let's start with Kayla on this end.
So I am currently a cheerleader at Dr. Henry A. Wise High School. I also do the dual enrollment program at Dr. Henry A. Wise High School, which sends me to PG, and I'm also a photographer. And honestly, I don't know how I manage all of it, but it just happens. I do my photography work on the weekends most of the time. Cheer is during the week, and dual enrollment is usually during the week. I take I'm currently about to take summer classes. I just took a speech class at PG. It was stressful, but I made it through.
Yes. Wonderful. And so, you don't know how you manage it? Do you have like a routine or something that you do to keep you kind of focused?
Honestly, I mean, people book events with me.
Yes.
I put it on my calendar. My dual enrollment class is usually a consecutive, like every Wednesday, and cheer is every day. So
Right.
that's a lifestyle.
And let me tell you something about Kayla. Kayla is a budding photographer. She was the photographer for my 3rd annual Woman Thou Art Great Women Sharpening Women Conference. And I'm going to tell you something. The photos that she took were just absolutely amazing. And so this young lady, you're going to see doing some very incredible things in that world because you do have a passion and it almost comes natural. It seems like it just comes natural to you. Okay. Kristen?
Well, I also cheer at my school, Carlson High School, and last season I had made one of the captains for the team.
Yes.
And at first it was like a lot for me because I'm only in 10th grade, and I was like, wow, they want a 10th grade captain. But I learned to juggle it, and along with my schoolwork, what I figured out was like, because everybody on the cheerleading team, there's no one really like that's not focused on their work and things. So it was like, you can't be that one girl on the team that didn't get honor roll. Like, we not about to come on now. And then I'm also in the international baccalaureate program at my school. So I'm always around, the more advanced kids. And being who I am, I'm not competitive, but like I can't be left behind. Yes. So like if I see everyone else like around me, like they getting up there and they doing all this, I'm gonna do better because that's just how like I have to be. So yeah.
It's scary listening to the two of them because I can relate to them so much. When I was in high school, I was a 10th grader. I was the captain of the cheerleading team too, and I didn't ask the question, why would they want a 10th grader? I thought, why not me? Who else is better suited?
Exactly.
And so I could really relate to where you are, and the challenges that you have, just trying to balance it all.
And this story is really about you all and so showcasing you. But I have to tell a little story. Being the oldest of so many sisters, I ended up going. We were born and raised in the inner city of Chicago, and so that has its own story behind it. But I was my English teacher, 9th grade English teacher, at my predominantly all black high school. She was like, it's something about you special. You need to do something else. And so at the time, they had a system where they selected the top students who had potential and put their names in this lottery system. And so fortunately, my name was selected out this lottery system to go to this college preparatory high school. And at that high school was very unique. But again, it was about, I don't think I ever thought about why me. I just remember riding on the train, looking out the window, leaving the city, going downtown, and then I ended up graduating from high school in 3 years. Wow. And so you talk about being committed, doing what you have to do. I don't know how I did it, right? I didn't have a plan. Nobody was talking to me about a plan. I just knew that I had to get good grades and I had to pass my work. But what I like that I'm hearing from you guys, from the most part, is that you already know. I had no idea. It was just something I did, and I just went along to get along. Mm-hmm. But it benefited me later in life. That's not what I'm saying, but to hear you so articulately talk about, I knew I need to do this. This is how it's going to get done, etc. I just think it's just it's phenomenal, and kudos to your parents, because your parents has a whole lot to do with some of this we're talking about. Exactly.
There is a list of extracurricular activities that I am in. I'm in College Bound, Upward Bound, Girls on the Move, MIGVA. They're not coming to my mind at the time, but it's a lot. And like they said, I don't know how I manage it and keep up with my grades. I guess it's just time management.
Exactly. And talent. Just talented like that, gifted like that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, I'm in the Richard A. Henson Honors Program at my school. So academics is number one for me. Like, got to do all my work. It's like in college, you have more leisure time, but it's more things to do. You have a social life, then you have your academic life. Like, actually, your academic life comes first to me, then social, then other things. Like, I also do community service on the weekends, get my community service up, and just going out and reaching out to other people. It's just a lot. But in high school, I know it's like a lot because I went to a school, like you said, you went to a dual enrollment. My school, I had the opportunity of getting my high school diploma, and on the same day, I was able to get my associate's degree.
Wow.
So that was a lot, just balancing that on top of extracurricular activities. Like, I danced at my church, I helped out at my church, I did community service. I had a lot of other programs like Top Teens of America, stuff like that. So it's just a lot. You just have to make sure you know everything, your obligations, time management. Do what you gotta do.
Exactly. Thank you.
The first 2 years of my high school career, I did drama club and I did service club a lot. And in drama club, I was more behind the scenes, and I got really into AV and all the sounds and audio and lights, and that's what really made me think, oh, I kind of want to do this. I want to do something with this. And then this year it led me to thinking maybe I should do film, and because I took a class, digital media, and I've really liked it, and that's what made me find my passion for it. And I draw a lot. I've been drawing since I was maybe 6 years old, and a lot of my inspiration came from my older sister because I would always see her draw all the time. And that's another reason why I wanted to do it. I wanted to put it in my films, and I'm trying to graduate high school early as well. In 3 years, I'm trying to graduate by July. That way I can, move forward.
Wow. So very interesting. When you were talking, I was thinking about, I'm looking at you all and still just listening and just in awe. And I'm thinking, what are the greatest challenges do you all see in your age groups? Because it's, we have 18 down to 16, 15, 16, 14. And so what are the challenges that you all face? And then, or what do you see happening? Because you may not face those same challenges, but within your age groups, what are the challenges? And how do you all stay above the fray?
Let's start with Aaron.
Well, some challenges that I have faced in the past, recently, were actually 3 deaths in my family back to back. So that kind of hit me. But I had to push forward. And it's also happening to many kids in our society now. It was a couple deaths, like 5 deaths in 1 week. So it was just...
And when you say deaths, were they killings, or people were sick, or a combination?
They were killing.
Okay. And you're in D.C.?
Yes.
Okay. So a couple killings. And did you know any of those students personally?
I didn't know them personally.
Okay, but it still had an impact on you because of what?
Because it was people close to me that were close to the people who got killed.
Okay, and so what do you think is happening with that? Why does that happening? Because we see the school shootings. We had one close in Maryland, down in St. Mary's County recently, and it's just what's happening? Talk to us.
I really don't know. Like, honestly, I really can't speak on it because I don't know what's going on.
but you are aware of it, and it does have an impact.
Yes.
Okay.
So
who
are,
else?
excuse me. So are you all concerned about school shootings coming to your school?
Yes.
Definitely. My school is a big school, so I mean, you just never know what to expect in my school. So I just kind of be aware of my surroundings and just like focus on me. Like you can't be worried about everybody else around you. You gotta focus on yourself at some point.
At my school recently, there was a threat, and there was a student there who got expelled like a week before, and he said he was going to show up on the school grounds and shoot everybody that came into the parking lot. There was the student parking lot, and that was a huge scare. But what I did not like about it is that my school had a very wrong reaction to it because they didn't close the doors. They let the students walk out of that school into the parking lot while there was a threat. And it was just the wrong thing. They didn't let the parents know until a lot later, and it was just horrible.
Well, I can tell you this. I think this whole topic of school shootings, in terms of what schools should do about it, is a very complicated topic. And most of us, most of you all know that I'm an educator and I've been an administrator, and I can tell you that one of the things we don't go to school for is that, right? And so, but as leaders of the school districts, it's our responsibility to make sure that we do everything within our power to make sure that our students are safe and that we're making sound decisions around what's important for the students that's under our care. And so, I've heard a couple people say that, and I that's unfortunate. But you just always kind of wonder what else is going on in terms of why something like that would happen. Because I remember we've come a long way since Columbine. I don't even know if you all were born during Columbine, but we've come a long way in terms of school systems, at least trying to deal with it in some shape, form, or fashion. So, but, hopefully they will have a conversation with the students so they'll know, get your ideas and your opinions about what should be happening around that, because you all are really in the mix and you have ideas around what your safety should look like.
You said something interesting to me, Sharon, when you said they don't train us to protect these kids, but they expect us to protect these kids when something goes down. I'm not in the school system, but I'm a leader in my organization, and I tell the people who work for me, if you see me running really fast with my pocketbook, I suggest you follow suit, because they don't train me to protect lives. They don't. And so at that point, I'm only responsible for myself, and I cannot put my life on the line without the training, and and be standing around saying, and everybody that's in this studio who worked for me before, they know I'm telling the truth. I will get my stuff and I will be moving really, really fast. And so, it's interesting that we as leaders have this huge responsibility with zero training. And so when you start talking about the teachers in the school system, I know there's a lot of talk around, should teachers be armed? And, with the way that our country is moving, with the prejudice that's still out there, with the racism that's still out there, with those who have and those who have not still out there, to me, it makes no sense to give teachers guns, because the teachers themselves have prejudices, and they will fear for their lives and start killing students. And then where do we go from there? And so I say that, let me rephrase that. Let me ask you, what do you think about teachers having guns? Okay, go ahead. Everybody got their hand up on that one.
I think it's one of the worst ideas I have heard, because and like watching what's going around now, especially with the police killings and everything, I feel like it's going to turn into one of those situations when one of the prejudiced teachers is fearing for their lives, and they think that somebody's threatening them, and then it's going to be another child dead and nobody's going to do anything about it because they were threatened. Right. So it's like, no, like that's not.
And let me just say this. I think there is a big difference between, protecting kids versus protecting adults.
That's why I don't work with kids.
Right, exactly. And so there is. And when you are a teacher and that is your passion, and you have decided to do this as your life's work, I'm a teacher, so I know, you are going to try to protect kids. That's just what teachers do. And, the teachers, not all teachers, are just like in any other organization, are good, but most of the teachers are, and they make a choice to go there. And so it's a different ball game. And when parents send children to us, and parents are at work, they just have a certain expectation that we're going to make sure that their kids are just as safe as possible and that we're taking care of them. And that is a huge responsibility. And so I think the conversation, I don't think there's going to ever be an answer to it because it's so complicated, right? It's very complicated.
And I don't know if it's in place at every school, but I know at my school at Eastern Shore, they have protocol for if there's a active shooter on campus. What they will have the students to do is to lay on the ground, but the teachers, they have actual training before. The professors have training where there's a clipboard. It looks like a whiteboard.
Don't tell all the details.
But they'll just hold it, make sure that nobody gets hurt. Like they're protecting everyone else.
Exactly.
So they are there to protect. So I think that should be in place, like have training for teachers, whether it's just talking, it really helps.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, you know what? I'm the fun one in the group, so I'm about to switch this conversation because that's a little deep for me. We're going to start talking about these young men y'all like.
After we come, we're going to take a break.
We're going to take a break first. Oh,
Yes, and then we're going to come
right
back
into the young man conversation.
After the break, we're going to come back and talk about young men. Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it. Okay, welcome back.
Yes.
We're going to go straight to it. We're going to start talking about these young men y'all like. So, let's start talking about them. Who want to go first? Let's talk about, first of all, what is it that you look for in these young men? What is it that they have to offer you in order for you to be interested in them? Everybody going to get a turn to answer this question, so whoever want to go first, jump right in.
Let's go first. Go
The
ahead.
oldest go first.
Well, me, when I look at someone, one thing I think a boy should have is intelligence, ambition, like have somewhere you want to go, because I know I want to go places, so you're going to have to go places too. Intelligence, respect.
Say it.
Respect, because it seems like, I'm not saying all boys, but respect for women sometimes is not at its high. It needs to.
Then you take it up a couple notches, isn't that
Yeah.
right? Yes, exactly.
So just respect, intelligence, ambition, like an appearance, like keep yourself up. Don't sag your pants. It's not me.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Exactly. Very good.
Next. Okay, we went the oldest. Let's go to the youngest now. She got a mic. Speaking to the mic.
Something I really look at when thinking about boys is respect and also, like she said, intelligence, because I cannot date anybody that just isn't on, I don't want to say the same level as me, but like
You can say it.
up to par. So
Exactly.
All right. Who want to
Next.
go next? Got the group in the middle. Come on. I'll call you out.
So the first thing I look at when I'm looking for a boy is definitely you have to have something going for yourself, and then looks. Like you can't be ugly. I'm sorry.
I'm glad you said
I'm
it.
sorry. You
I was
cannot
gonna call
be
y'all
ugly.
out.
That's definitely number 2. But going for yourself and respect, of course. And I see a lot in my brothers. Like I see, so I kind of when I'm looking at dudes, like I be like comparing them to my brothers. Oh, my brother wouldn't do this. No thanks. Like that's definitely a big thing.
That's right. That's awesome. Kristen?
Okay. Yeah. Just like Kayla said, I have older brothers that like I really love a lot, and so when I like look at someone, I like to like he got to go through my brother first, so that's the first thing. So it's just like Bryce wouldn't do that, so I can't be with him. Bryce is not gonna do that either. Like, but it's like
Okay.
Vanessa?
No comment.
Well,
Wait, we didn't even ask the question yet that you're supposed to take the fifth on.
and one of the things that I heard you all say, and I just like to emphasize, and this is, you might think this is a little old fashioned, but boys should be pursuing you.
Right.
Definitely.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so when they pursue you, something is going to be something about them that you are attracted to. And I like the fact that you all are talking about respect, because when you show respect, the people around you are going to respect you, and that includes young men as well. And so, you have to stand strong on those principles. So, and you're going to have a boyfriend. You're going to eventually in life. And so for you to know now that respect and intelligence and having goals is important, you're well on your way to perhaps having successful relationships. And you're probably going to have a few as you get older, but, to kind of figure out who, you like. But I think that's really, really good.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I was in college, I've been with my... Look, you already laughing. When I was in college, for me, I met my husband when I was a freshman in college, first semester. And we've been together 34 years, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat what attracted me to him. He was fine. I could tell you what he had on, that Argyle sweater. It was black and gray and some black jeans, and he was in the cafeteria. He was fine. And I'm going to tell you, he's still fine. So, Kayla, when you said they had to look good, girl, I know what you mean. But let me tell you what my mama told me. You only need to worry about what they look like if you're trying to have their babies.
Oh, stop.
And you don't need to be trying to have nobody baby if you're not married to them. So there you have it. But he was fine, y'all.
But you know what?
And then he turned out to have a good personality and be very respectful.
Yes. But what's so interesting, and we're talking about boys, but you're so young, and we know
Right.
we've been there, we've done that. But the fact that you have goals, career goals, and
Yes.
you want to do some things in life, I always say, stay focused
Yes.
on, the goals that you want to accomplish in life. And if you just happen to meet someone, that catches your attention, then you deal with that. But stay focused on where you're trying to go as young ladies. And actually, we have a phone call. You all mind if we take the call?
Go ahead.
She said, go ahead.
Hello, caller.
Oh, hello. This is Philip from Chicago.
Oh, hey, Philip, how
Hey,
are you? What's your question?
Hey, ladies and young ladies. Look, with the day that we're times that we're living in, you got Black Lives Matter, which was basically started after Mike Brown, a young black man, was unarmed and shot and killed by the police, and you also have the Me Too movement, which is men basically abusing women, young and old. And then this whole women's lib movement who has been in existence for at least the last 50 years. With all these different movements, how is it affecting the way these young ladies, how do they look at it? Especially how do they look at men and how their influence in the employment and in hiring, or is it going to more or less push these young ladies to do their own businesses I mean, do they have any thoughts on that? And maybe you can help set it up, Sherelle.
Okay, so basically he's saying with all of these movements that's happening, is it causing you to start thinking about being an entrepreneur to, protect yourself from being in vulnerable situations with these men who are powerful? Or are you not really that connected to it yet and you just plan to go the traditional route?
Well, for me, I'm already an entrepreneur, so
Say
I always
it.
have something to fall back on. But like even with me being a surgeon, I want to open my own practice. So that's still being an entrepreneur. Like that's always, I feel like women should have their own businesses. That's really big for me.
Okay.
And it really has nothing to do with the question that he asked. It's just your mindset.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Anybody else?
Oh, well, the movements there, like just following it on the media and the news, it inspires me. Like people are actually stepping out. Like we have walks. Just even if you start a walk, that helps. Like just get the word out. Like if you don't like something, speak up because nobody's gonna know. Nobody can't read your mind. They can't. Mm-hmm. So if you have a problem, you should say it. Like the Black Lives Matter, we have a problem. And we're going to address it, and we're going to keep addressing it until it's solved.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else?
The different movements have affected my career. I want to be a psychologist because of what's going around and how, like I said, people cope with it. So with all of the movements, it shows me like people do this, but why do they do it? And that's why I want to do what I want to do.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I think they touched on everything.
Okay. So one of the things, we have your parents here today, and you could not be the young ladies that you are without influence from your parents. And so what is the best advice your parents have given you about anything?
I gotta think about that.
So, or what is one of their sayings? Sherelle always says, if you stay
you don't have
ready,
to
you
get
got to get ready. So, what kind of sayings do you hear from your parents, when they're talking with you?
Oh my gosh, I got one.
Okay, go ahead.
Come on over there. I remember me and my brother, we used to get in trouble all the time together. And my mom, she'll always say, she didn't say it like this, but I gotta say it like this. She'll say what she said. She'll be like, y'all don't believe that poop stink. And basically, I figured out what it means. Because, like, back then, she used to be so mad at me because I just be cracking up laughing when she say it. But now, like, I finally get it. She's basically saying, like, we don't believe there's consequences until we get those consequences. So then when we get the consequences, you like, yeah, that poop stinks.
That's right, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Just look like the one thing that popped up in my head was my grandmother. When she was still living, she would always tell me from when I was, she tells everybody, she'll look you right in your eyes. Like if you're scared of anything, let me tell you something. Don't be scared of nothing and nobody. That's her saying, like, if you scared, and that is something that you take into the real world. Like, don't let anybody intimidate you. Yeah, they it's always going to be somebody smarter. There's always going to be somebody prettier. Always going to be somebody that's better. But don't be scared. Just go into it.
Hold on.
I can't.
Not prettier.
And who determines that, right? Exactly.
Right. And since I'm determining it for me, ain't no happiness.
Exactly. But I understand the message. And the
too.
message is don't compare yourself to other people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right?
Walk in your own greatness.
And your own beauty and your own womanhood. And that's the message behind that. Anyone else?
Okay, go ahead, Vanessa.
Ever since I was like very, very small, my mom always told me to just stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. And when I was really little, she always told me, you can choose your own path, you can choose what you believe in, you can do whatever you want to do as long as you're a good person. And that's what I am today.
Okay,
All
all
right
right.
now. I like that. That is
I
so
do too.
true. And sometimes in this world, I think that's one of the challenges that we have. Nobody really wants to stand alone because they see the people that stand alone like a Colin Kaepernick. He stood alone. and they see what happened to him, and so whether you believe it or not, he stood alone. And people are like, well, if I stand alone, then I'm gonna be the butt of the jokes. I'm gonna, people are not gonna support me. They're gonna skate, and so we have to learn to stand alone when we believe in something that we think is right to do.
One thing my mom still tells me to this day is you don't know everything. That's true. That is the one thing she will forever tell me. I don't know everything.
That's because you think you know everything. Is that what it is?
No, she thinks that I think I know everything. But when she say it, I do be listening. Like sometimes I have to step back and review. Like, okay, maybe I did push it, but sometimes I really don't be thinking I know everything. Most of the time I be right.
Okay.
But I just let her have it.
You let her have it. Oh, that's great.
Let her have it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm sure she appreciates you letting her have it.
Definitely.
And I'm telling you what how old are you?
16.
Okay, I'm telling you what my daddy told my sister when she was 16. If you think you know all that at 16, imagine what I know at 55.
Exactly. Yeah, because you all forget to do the math in that way. Right. we've been on Earth for a long time, and we weren't just born to be the age that we are now. So we were your age before, so we get it. What about your dads?
Hold on. Oh. Did Erin get her chance?
I'm
She
sorry.
got her chance. Come on, Erin.
She's so quiet.
I'm keeping up.
My mother's favorite line is, "If I neglect my child, give me some help." That's her favorite line. But when she says it, I really reflect on it because it's like she's always going to be there for me no matter what. And I have to realize that.
Okay.
And before I ask about your dads, you all are using a skill set, and you said the word twice. You said reflect. Do you know, I don't know if you all understand how powerful of a word that is, and that you're using that in your conversations, that you're at this age able to reflect, to think about, some of the things your mom has already said and some of the things that you've done, and whether or not, you were right or your mama was right, and so that's a powerful skill that you all need to take into leadership, being self-reflective. So, dads, what about your dads?
My dad, he supports me in everything I do, whether, I just know that every decision I make, he's always going to be behind me. Like, he's always going to be there, every step of the way. So,
Beautiful.
I thank him for that.
That's beautiful. Next.
Is that a question for everybody?
No,
If you don't wanna answer
it's
it.
not a question for
No, if you
everybody,
don't wanna
but
answer.
since we have a dad in the room,
Yeah.
we might want to have his daughter.
And he's looking like.
Shall I call you out, or should we skip it? Oh,
Did you want to say something, Kayla?
My dad is the funniest person in the world. So even when there's a down moment, he always knows how to bring the moment back up. So that's something that I always have with him. It may not be a quote or anything, but that's something that I can always look back and think about.
Anyone else? Can I tell you what I do know about dads? They're powerful in your life.
Definitely.
And they really help shape who you are as young women, and the young men that you all are going to become attracted to. And so your fathers bring a lot of, because they're men, right? They're men, and we're not men. So we can't understand men. They understand men. So you have to listen to what they're saying to you because they know the truth. And so your fathers are, equally important in terms of your development. And so I'm glad that you said, your father is there for you. He's funny, and you recognize that about him. But you see him taking care of family as well. And so those are the types of things when you all are, of course, matriculating into adulthood, you're going to understand more and more.
so let's talk about drugs. Have you ever been approached? Has somebody ever offered you drugs, and how did you handle it?
I go to a school in PG County. So that's normal. The question of the day is always, are you trying to back? I'm straight. I'm cool. And just walk away.
Okay.
But that's PG County.
Okay.
Yeah, like on the college campus, the setting, like there's no adults around. So of course you get approached like, "Oh, did you want?" I'm like, "No, no thank you." And then I just keep walking. Like it's just not for me. Like just leave it alone. That's not my lane. Let me stay in my lane.
Exactly.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Well, I go to a very high school. It's very challenging. So I'm surrounded by kids who do a lot of things. We're not going to speak on that, but they do a lot of things, and it's just like I don't understand how do you function with that in your system? I don't understand.
Anyone else?
When we had the young men on this show, they took the fifth.
They did.
So they took the fifth. So that and one of the young men was my son. So that spoke volumes. He was the first one to take the fifth. So that spoke volumes to me when you start taking the fifth.
And what we last week we had the young men. I'm not sure if you all saw the show, but the young men. There was a diverse group in terms of race of young men. We have a African American females, one white female, and one of the things that I asked them, and I'm going to ask you all, how do you all, is your school diverse? You have a diverse school, mixed race, or?
Yeah, but
No, okay.
Talking to the
Yeah,
mic.
okay.
yeah.
Yes, but no.
Yeah, no. They're very discriminative against a lot of groups of people, a lot of minorities, and it's terrible. I think the system is terrible.
And I think we need to stand to correct Sharon right now. Tell her what you identify with.
Me,
Mhm.
my race,
Mhm.
white, but my dad is also Mexican.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. So how do you all, do you go to school? Well, UMES, I'm not sure if it's diverse yet, but.
It's a HBCU.
Talking to the mic.
It's a HBCU, but we do have a diverse group of people at my school.
Okay. So how do you all manage that yourselves as individuals? You see all of that going on around you, and how do you manage it?
Okay. Well, I go to Crossland, and so the area that Crossland in, like, it's not very diverse. There's two dominant races, and that's Latino and Black. So, but since I'm in the IB program, I'm around, Asian, Islanders, white people, Black people. Like, my program is diverse, but when it's time for me to go to other classes, when I'm not in that program, it's just the African American kids and the Latino kids. And sometimes it becomes, like, not so much of a distraction, but it's really, like, hard to focus because, like, really, like, if you're at Crossland, if you're not in a program, then there's nothing, like, it's not nothing, but, like, you just hard to focus in there, like, because the area that Carlson's in and the area that those kids come from, they're not used to being focused, so they get to school and they act the same way that they do at home or how they act when they're, like, out doing stuff. Like, they come to school that way, so it becomes, like, a challenge to start, like, to try to pay attention in class or to try to listen to what anybody has to say. Like, it's just a challenge.
Okay. What about Wise High School?
For me, like, trying to stay focused, I'm a friendly person. Like, I communicate with people, but me, I'm a hi and bye type of person. Like, hey, bye. So it's like, I don't really communicate with people like that. So for me, I just remember, like, I have a lot of people in my family who do drugs and drink. And so I just remember, like, I don't want that to be reflected on me. So I just kind of like, no thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and like it's good to be exposed to diversity because the real world is diverse. I had the opportunity, like my high school, we had different diverse groups. Even though it was a small amount of people, we pretty much had covered every ethnicity, every race. So that helped me learn the different styles. Like, you have to go in with an open mindset. You don't know my struggles as my race. I don't know your struggles. But what I can do is empathize with you because I don't know what you're going through, but you have struggles, I have struggles, and I'm going to let that be known.
And it doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin, right? We're just human beings, and so
Right.
good for you.
Let me just ask, because we, of course, the time is
Always.
zooming by, and we have about 5 minutes left. But I want to ask,
Get us off in 1 minute, I think.
oh, okay, well, real quick, Kayla, college Kayla, what advice would you give these ladies as rising college students?
Well, I would just say be yourself, always be yourself, and don't get lost in a crowd. Like, there are going to be a bunch of people that approach you, but remain true to who you are. Like, just be you, remain focused, don't let other people get into your head, because it's there. But just be yourself, remain focused, stay positive, and, like, shoot for your goals. Don't let anybody get in the middle of that.
That's awesome.
Okay, yes, that's
Wow,
great
my
advice.
God.
Thank you,
Very good.
Kayla.
Yeah, I like that.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Well, we want to thank you all for coming, for being so well spoken, for really sharing your truth, because there are a lot of people watching all across not only the United States but also in other countries. And so it's good for them to not only see that you all are prepared for this world, but you are ready to tackle this world. So thank you.
Yes, thank you all. That was a great conversation, and I'm so proud of you, and we will keep up with you. So thank you for coming out today. Thank you, parents,
Thank you,
for allowing
parents.
them to be on the show. And so everybody, time goes by so quickly, so it's time for us to end the show, and I'll see you on next Sunday.
And I'm going to be in New Orleans down on in the French Quarters. So,
And I'm going to have a special co-host, and she's in the house today, Walita Hawkins. And so we're going to have an
Dr.
awesome...
We2B.
Dr. We2B. We're going to have an awesome conversation, so have a blessed day. Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Welcome to Sisters in Company Talking About It live show. Hosted by me, Dr. Sharon Cradle, and Sherelle Higgins. We will be discussing intriguing, intricate, inspirational, informative, and intelligent topics with our individual twists and talents.
We will present real stories, real solutions, and engage in real talk.
So we invite you to be our company every Sunday afternoon at 3:00 p.m. as we focus on transcendent thinking that will move you forward. You become the company you keep. What company do you keep?
Oh yeah, we are biological sisters by way of the south side of Chicago. So get ready to keep company with us and our guests as we talk about it.